morning. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Good morning. All right. Well, we've got a treat for you today. So, once again, I'm Mike Foley, and there's no way I'll ever live up to that intro, but I'll try. And as always, we are thrilled to have Michael Walkner with us. We've got an adventure today, huh, Michael? Michael's been... I've been traveling for 2 weeks, so I've been, kind of stressed, and Michael's been sick for 2 weeks, so we're just going to see what emerges today, huh, Michael? We've got some interesting things. So why don't we just start with just to close our eyes, and we'll just have a quick meditation, and just take a deep breath, and just fully arrive from your week, your busy week, and release all the tension and stress of your daily life, the rushing from one place to another. And just for this hour, just this 1 hour this week, let this be the hour where you have nothing to do, nothing to accomplish, nothing to strive for, nothing to, achieve. And let this just be the 1 hour this entire week where you absolutely let yourself just receive. Let yourself just receive and fill up with spirit and inspiration and love. And let's just take one more big, deep breath. There we go. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers here. And what I'd like you to do is why don't we stand up and greet your neighbor? Just take a minute to do that. So the title of my talk today is I Am That I Am. And I've always wondered, what the heck does this mean? Well, that's what I'd like to kind of explore today. It's everywhere, by the way. So recently what's been going on for me is I had to give this talk about a week ago to part of my company. I had to go in front of 26, there's no we, and in front of 26 CEOs, and I was really nervous, which was pretty uncharacteristic of me these days anyway. So what was interesting is years ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago, if I got nervous, I would be unconscious to what was going on for me, and I would just power through. Now it's even more of a nightmare because I'm conscious. And I'm watching myself do my stuff, stuff being our resistance, all the nervousness, whatever it is. So it was really interesting over 2 weeks, just really watching the processes and watching everything consciously. So it was my stuff in Technicolor, insecurity, fear of failure, lack of money, blah, blah, blah. Growing up, my dad's mantra in the house was the wolf is at the door, meaning financial ruin is just around the corner. And that's what I was growing up with. So the good news is the talk went well. Everything went fine. But the bad news is I was feeling disappointed with myself that I would let myself still think of my clients as my source or still think of something outside myself as my source when I thought I was so far beyond this. I thought, anybody ever feel like you're beyond something and then it just whacks you in the head and you're like, oh, I'm still into this. All right, there you go. It's humbling, very humbling. So there was a story of a head master, teacher at a monastery, and he was asked to marry the king's son and his fiancée, and he noticed while he was doing the service that his palms became sweaty. So after the service, he went and he resigned as the head teacher of the monastery and went away for 3 years to meditate because he said he's not worthy of that position because he still has attachment and still is projecting importance on things that are not necessarily important. Brilliant, right? So we don't see things. Anthony DeMello, one of my favorite authors, says we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. So we're each seeing life through our own lenses and projecting onto life what's important, what's not important. So very interesting. So I have 2 dogs, and Phil and Laura, wonderful teacher of mine years ago, were staying with us, so they've gotten to know both our dogs, and they're both huge characters. So There's Gus and his projection onto life. Here's what he sees out of his lens, which is everyone is simply here to love me, feed me, give me hugs, and even if you're a stranger, you do love me. You just may not know this yet, all right? And he walks through life just, that's his reality, all right? And on the other hand, Zara, she's this scaredy little cat, and she's a dog, but she's just fear-based. And her whole thing is people are to be mistrusted until proven otherwise. And so when Michael and Judy come over, she's always in Michael's lap. So she's a very, lots of fear that she's projecting out into the world. So my question that I'd like to explore today is, until we all become fully enlightened, whatever that is, how are we to live with our respective sweaty palms? Anybody got sweaty palms, as in stuff you're still working through? Absolutely. So rather than beating yourself up, how do we actually live with that? It's living with two truths. One's that you are absolutely divinity in a human form, and yet over here, I can list all the things that, there seem to be my stuff. Does that make sense? So how do we actually live gently with ourselves, with the sweaty palms? So that's what I'd like to take a look at. So number one, just a couple points, is to commit to doing our part. We each have our part, and it's usually pretty humbling, whatever that part is. But we each, if we do our part, then you're going to find a certain level of fulfillment, regardless of whether you have sweaty palms or not. You're playing your part. And each person here, we all have our part to play. We all are the people we're meant to connect to with and to give to. So no one can tell you what this is. Only you can tell you what this is. Only you know. And you are here for a reason. When I was taking some graduate classes, I had to read the Bhagavad Gita. It's like this thick. And basically, it's an argument between God, Krishna, and this guy Arjuna. And Arjuna is a warrior, a general, and he's in front of this battlefield. And on the other side is this clan or this tribe. And he's arguing with God, I don't want to go to war. I want to go meditate in the caves. I want to go do yoga. I want to go... And God is saying, I made you as a warrior. This is metaphorical, of course. I made you as a warrior. This is what I made you to do, to go into the heat of battle. And he's fighting with God. And finally, eventually, he relents. And I think, for me, I can totally relate to this, is that anybody ever had the feeling like, I don't want to do this, and yet you feel called to do this? You feel like if you go in the opposite direction, that's absolutely not where you're supposed to be. So for me, it's been teaching, I get sweaty thinking about this, teaching spiritual principles in corporate America. I mean, who would sign up this? I wouldn't encourage my worst worst enemy to this. Thank you, Stanberry. There you go. I've seen it all over the last 20 years, and I've tried it all. My whole thing has been trying to throw spaghetti against the wall, see what sticks, and if it sticks, keep doing that. If it doesn't, let that go. I tried tying people together at some point. I was at a bank, Wells Fargo, and I had like 20 people. So I thought it was a great idea that they should learn how to cooperate and work with each other. So I had them tied to left to right, in groups of 10 and go to lunch. And it was a salad bar. They had to actually pluck their... And I don't know if they thought it was inappropriate or if it was some kind of S&M thing or whatever, but I noticed I was never called back after that one. And then this other one, which was actually worse, a colleague of mine said, hey, we're going to do team building down in Miami. We're going to take 2 boats and go sailing, and we need a captain on each boat, and you can be on the other boat. I'm like, okay, sounds good. Well, sailing doesn't work too well if there's no wind, all right? So we get down there, and it's 100 degrees. It's Miami in July, and 100 degrees, no wind. And we're supposed to race, and it's all these, executives on each boat, and they're just, it's like the sail is just like luffing, and it's 100 degrees, and we're going like 1 knot, 1 mile an hour. So finally, we anchor, and the whole process, if there's no mutual experience, there's nothing to talk about. Hey, remember that time, Michael, when we did, there's nothing to talk about. So I'm trying to come up with something for them to talk about. And I came up with this thing. I said, I noticed we got to our anchorage before the other boat. And, the captain of this boat, he painted the bottom so there's no barnacles on our boat. So turn to your partner who's sitting next to you and talk about the barnacles in your life. Who are the barnacles in your life? And so they started talking, and then later on I was like, and who are the anchors in your life? It didn't go well. So I wasn't called back there either. It's just not glamorous. And so as I've, learned how to do this over the years, my daughter Megan, who's always, anyone notice your children are little truth tellers all the time, all right? She's like, Dad, you don't have to fly your freak flag all the way to the top all the time. You can. So I have a consultant friend of mine, and he coined the PWI index. Anybody know what that is? Perceived Weirdness Index, all right? So as a consultant, you have to be weirder than the people in the company, otherwise they don't need you. Otherwise you're coming in with the same idea. So you have to be a little off-kilter, a little strange, where's this going to come from? So you got to be that weird, but then you can't be this weird. You can't come in with, the flowing garb and have them do Om in the corporate setting, because then you're too weird. So there's this you got to keep the PWI right in the middle if you're going to be taken seriously. So back to my talk. I've struggled with that all these years. It was difficult because what they wanted to know in 1 hour is, what do you do? And I've never answered this question. In 20 years, I've never answered this question because I don't know how to answer the question. I don't know how to put words to that, because it would feel like I was cheapening what we do. And what I've done is just just have us in, try it, I don't know. And if you like it, we'll keep coming back. And if you don't, no worries. And that's kind of how we've worked all these. So I had to really figure out, what is it we do? And finally I came up with it. We help people embrace their power. We help people embrace their power. And Webster says power is the ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or the course of events. So in other words, when I come into one of these classrooms, they're very capable, smart, sharp, motivated people, and what we try to do is help them just be a little more confident, clear, and expressive. And the premise is behind everything, and I just intuitively have been doing this, I never really kind of put my finger on it. The premise is, if you help people have a sense of their power, you don't have to send people to leadership courses. Be a leader. Okay, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. But if people have a sense of their power, they will assert themselves. I promise you, I guarantee, once people have a sense of their power, they're going to start expressing. If you can't express it here, they'll express it here. They'll do something once they get a sense of that. And that's kind of what we try to do. I watch a lot of sports bios. I like sports bios. There was a linebacker of Ohio State 25 years ago. This guy's 18 years old, Chris Spielman. And he had a sense of his own power. He would walk behind the coach as a freshman, 18-year-old kid, and they never start freshmen, and he'd scream at the coach, "Put me in, coach, put me in." So finally the coach puts him in. He gets 4 sacks. They win the game. He becomes an All-American, in the pros 10 years. And that's just a sense of, when we have a sense of our own power, we will assert ourselves. And it's kind of like that story of the eaglet that gets dropped out of the nest, and he's lost. Mother can't find him, so he just starts wandering through the woods, makes it to a pond. This duck takes him in as one of the ducklings, so for his entire childhood he's walking around, this big gangly eagle quacking like a duck. And then finally, about a year later, there's an eagle floating overhead, and he swoops down and grabs this eagle and takes him over to the pond and shows him his reflection and says, "Look, you're an eagle. Start acting like it." And suddenly he knows who he is, and he flies off. All right? So that's, once again, if we have a sense of our power. So the only thing I would say there is, this is when we do actually commit to doing our part, it's typically chop wood, carry water. It's not glamorous at all. If you think, it's typically not the glamorous thing. It's the everyday stuff. You can imagine the resistance I run into in these corporate situations. So the second thing I would say is, forgive yourself for having sweaty palms. All right? So everybody, just forgive yourself. Oh, I got sweaty palms. Oh, look at that. There we go again. I have a good friend of mine, Peter, who's always reminding me of this. He's like, well, you do what you do until you don't. And that's pretty much true, all right? We do what we do until we don't. Anybody notice you ever laid it down, I will never do that thing again, and then you're doing it again, all right? So I say that it's kind of like our awareness gets ahead of our karma. Like, I can have the awareness I'm not supposed to do that thing, but then my karma says, no, you're not quite done. You got to keep doing it, all right? And whether it be, anybody stay in a relationship that's not good too long, all right? Anybody actually have to stay in a job that was bad, and you stayed too long, all right? So this is, anybody have a bad habit you keep doing? All right, too long? Yeah, me too. So it's interesting when you get busted. So this is going back about 10 years ago. I was driving through the Dairy Queen thing, and I said, yeah, I'll have a large mud pie blizzard, please. And this voice comes back and says, is that Mike Foley? And totally busted. And large blizzard, and it was this Hannah Owens Pikes was working at the Dairy Queen. So totally busted. So it's all about self-acceptance. You can only accept yourself now. There is no, I will accept myself when I start making lots of money. I will accept myself when I lose that 20 pounds. I will accept myself when I get that ideal job. There is only acceptance right here, right now. And that's it. So take the pressure off. There's nothing to get, and we'll talk more about that. Robert Adams, who's one of my favorite authors, says, whatever is destined to happen is going to happen, no matter how hard you try to stop it. And whatever is destined not to happen will never happen, no matter how much you try to make it happen. There is absolutely nothing to worry about, nothing to fear, nothing to conquer, nothing to win, and nothing to lose. Everything is unfolding the way it should. Everything is in its right place. There are no mistakes. Everything is exactly and lovely and beautiful just the way it is. Now, for me, I sense the truth in this. I can find exceptions and I can find things that challenge me with that, but I do sense the resonance in that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. And the sweaty palms, we're supposed to have them until we don't, all right? So just self-acceptance, it's working with yourself. Some things are harder and easier than others, so some things are hard to accept. So when I first did my first big talk, this is going back 15 years, I've never used one of these before. I've never used a mic. I don't really, these are a little bit different, a little funky when you first use it. And it was like 200 people, and they had the big loud music, and we got Mike Foley, and I'm like, oh my God. And so I get up, and I do this talk, and it goes fine for the first hour. And they're like, okay, that was great, Mike, and come on back, we'll take a break, 15-minute break. I'm like, oh, good, all good to go. So 5 minutes later, I'm in the restroom, and it occurs to me, I'm like, did I turn that mic off? And in that moment, I was like, all right, God, before I look down, I will become a priest, I promise. Just let this thing be off. And it was off. So I became a minister instead. There you go. So best to stay humble in life. And don't, I can tell you this, but it's like, even if you are carrying stuff from the past, make friends with it. Oh, here it is again. All right, I guess I'll carry you until I don't. But, it's one of these, accept your past, accept your present. There's a story of a group of monks, and they come up to a river, and there's a pretty girl, and one of the older monks picks the girl up and carries her across the river. And then on their way, they go, and so 10 miles down the road, one of the other monks says to the older monk, you are a disgrace. You touched a woman. We are monks. We are ascetics. We do not fraternize. We don't do anything. We just absolutely. And the older monk says, well, that's true. And I did pick her up and I put her down. But you, young man, have been carrying her for the last 10 miles in your mind. So what are we carrying in our mind? And so just, once again, forgive yourself, accept yourself, let it be there until it's not. And when it's not, it's no big deal. Thirdly, and lastly, is understand who you are. And this is the one that I really want to emphasize as I am that I am. The good news and the bad news. So the bad news, you're never going to make it. So this thing in your mind that I got to make it, I got to make enlightenment, I got to make this amount of money, I got to live here, I got to do this, I got to do that. You're never going to make it. Sorry, I know, Mike Foley, demotivational speaker. You're never going to make it. Give it up. Good news, you don't have to make it. And the even better news is there's nothing to make, all right? So just FYI, there's nothing to make. There's nothing going on out there. Yes, life is going on, and we're participating in the Maya, the drama of life. Yes, obviously. But beyond that, you at your core, and I'll say this slowly, are all that you seek. You at your core It's already there. So how can you give yourself more than you already are? Isn't that amazing? So you are at your core, even with your sweaty palms, your history, your all these, ideas. Doesn't matter. You at your core are all that you are seeking. So Yogananda, and this is fascinating to me, and I don't know even how to weave this together, but Yogananda says, true wisdom is understanding how the one consciousness becomes all things, the I am. Okay, so Yogananda knows I am. Love says, I am everything. Wisdom says, I am nothing. Between these two, my life flows. Sri Nisargadatta. Okay, that's the guy that wrote I Am that classic spiritual book. Moses, when asked his name, says, I am that I am. Interesting. And then Jesus says, I am the way, the life, and the truth. No one goes to the Father but by me. And I think, personally, that's the most misunderstood line in the entire Bible. Meaning, most people take it as literal as I, Jesus Christ, who lives at 55 Main Street, am the way, the life, the truth. And I think what he's saying there is, if you just put the in front of it, the I am is the way, the life, and the truth. No one goes to the Father but by the I am, because the I am is God, which is present in every single person here. So that is what I think he's getting at there. So I have a very profound quote here, so really just go in, let this just wash over you. I am what I am. You don't have to be no fish to tell when you're floundering. What I am, some kind of barnacle on the dinghy of life. I ain't no doctors, but I know that I'm losing my patience. What am I? Some kind of judge or lawyer? Maybe not, but I knows what laws suits me. So what am I? I ain't no physicist, but I knows what matters. What am I? I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I am what I am. What I am what I am, and that's all that I am, because I am what I am. But wait, there's more. And I got to a lot of muscle, and I got to one eye, and I never hurts nobody or tell a lie. Tops to be bottoms and bottoms to be top, and that's the way it is till the day I drop. What am I? I am what I am, and that's what I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. So, Popeye was a sage. You didn't know that, did you? All right. So lastly, what I'd like to do is just a quick experiment before we wrap up here, and lots of the spiritual sages say if you ever want to just calm yourself down completely and connect with that I am, just throughout your day, just inhale on I and exhale on M. Just once again, just I am. And I and am. And if you don't even have to get up, just glance at the person sitting right next to you or somebody near you in the eye and just be breathing, I am. And that right there, what you're seeing in their eye, is you. There's only one consciousness. There's only one being here. And so with that, in closing, at your core, at our core, there is only one consciousness, one life. And the sages implore us, you are that. You are that. There's nothing to worry about. So rest in knowing that it's all unfolding as it should, and accept yourself just as you are. And as Popeye would say, I am that I am, and that's all that I am. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. And now I'll turn it back to Michael Walker.
Well, this song here is, I think you guys have heard this before, but I don't know if I ever told you how this one came about. The title is Praise This Sacred Space, and one day I had a particularly powerful meditation, and I just felt so filled with love for God, for the universe, for gratitude for being here, for the life that's been given to me, and I was just in this space of absolute, just intense love for God at that moment, and I wanted to express it somehow. So I wrote this song, and at chorus I just wanted to keep it simple. And the chorus is just, oh, 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 oh. I mean, there's no really words to it, but But when I came to that chorus and when I sing those O's, they represent every ounce of gratitude and love for God and for being here and for all the things that I've been given with. And so I hope when you listen to it that maybe you can revisit that space for yourself. Today is a solstice. It's the longest day of the summer, and there's a lot of energy. One thing I know, and I've come to learn even more so in the last couple of years, is that the angels love it when we come together as one and we praise the universe, the creator, the one. And so maybe from that space, and if you feel like joining me on the chorus, it's really easy to remember when you'll catch it when it comes in. Please join me. But sing it from a space of deep gratitude if you feel like doing so, and from your heart. And let's just see if we can light this space up with as many angels as we could possibly pull in here. I breathe in light, I breathe in love, with open heart and quiet mind. I breathe in light, I breathe in love, precious love of sweet divine. And in this moment I embrace, and under my embrace, the power of this love and grace. With all my heart I praise this sacred space. I feel the sky above my head, I feel the earth below my feet. With open heart and quiet mind, precious love of sweet divine. And in this moment I embrace the power of this love and grace. And then we'll have our praise this sacred space. I praise this sacred space. Yeah. Yeah, I praise. And in this moment I embrace the power of this loving grace. With all my heart I praise, with all my heart I praise, with all my heart I praise this sacred space. I praise you, Lord. Yeah, I praise you. Yeah, I praise you, Lord. praise you for letting me go. Will you breathe with me? Will you breathe into your heart? Will you breathe with me? Will you breathe into your heart? Just breathe into your soul. Let it all go. Yeah, just let it all go. There's a golden light that sparkles so bright. Just breathe it all in. Just take it all in. Just take it all in. See it fill you up. Let it fill you up. Let it fill you up. And just take it all in. Will you breathe in the light? Will you breathe in the love? Will you breathe with your heart? Will you breathe into your life? Yeah, just breathe. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, just breathe. Yeah, yeah. Just breathe. Oh.
Thank you, Michael. Good morning. In a continuation of what Michael have presented here today, I was thinking about what I'd like to do for guidance today, and all that came to me was breathing into the present moment and choosing for peace. It's a choice we all have, no matter what's going on. And we're all big enough and bold enough and bad enough to be able to do that, I believe. So with that, just make yourself comfortable, put everything down out of your hands, and if it works for you, to close your eyes for a few moments. And just focus inward. And in your mind's eye, see yourself just as you are, sitting right in the middle of your heart. And imagine that vibrantly, colorfully, boldly. See yourself sitting peacefully right in the center of your heart, surrounded by pink and golden light. So soft, so gentle, that you wonder, could that be God enfolding me? Something that gentle? And then you remember, of course, your strength lies in your vulnerability. And if you're vulnerable enough to be soft, then you'll know God. So today, with any challenge you may have, be bold enough to see it in front of you, with you. You have a big consciousness. It includes everything and everyone. Let it be there with you now, in this space, sitting right in the middle of your heart. And take a breath right into that. And then let go. Today I choose for peace. Today I choose for loving myself and loving everyone in my life and all my creations. Even if those creations look like challenges, which certainly most of them do sometimes, I realize that I'm not alone in this and that all I have to do is remember to breathe in and breathe out. To keep breathing no matter what. I let all aspects of my life give to this experience, even the noisy ones outside, even the noisy ones inside. I let all thoughts rain upon me as loving thoughts, loving experiences, because that's my choice. I am that I am. That's all that I am. And all of that is good enough. Breathe in. Breathe out. Give yourself a little hug. And let go. Amen.
And we usually end up here with a song I wrote, Rick, especially for this group. It's called the Circle Song, but I'm going to have to try to do this without smiling. The chorus is, I am. So if you want to throw in there, I am that I am. Go ahead and do that too. Join in with me in a chorus if you. We are children of the stars, we are made of sacred light. We carry in our hearts the sound of one. I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am. I am. Lord, I am, yeah. We are one with the infinite, we shine with magnificence, we carry in our soul the light of the one. I am, I am, I am. I am, yeah, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am, I am. Yeah, no, I am. We are everlasting, ever love, forever light, forever love. I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am. Lord, I am, I am, I am. Oh, I am. Yeah. Lord, I am. And I'll carry this love throughout this day with a heart full of gratitude. I will pray, oh Lord, I am, I am, I am.